Good morning. Good morning and welcome to Jordan Station United Church. I'm so pleased that you're all with us here today. We'll start by lighting our Christ candle and centering ourselves in prayer. Will you pray with me? Holy One, help us to walk with you on the pathway to the Beatitudes, to live out your mission in today's world. Bind us to all men and women of our time so that together we may bring the good news to the ends of the earth. Open our hearts and our Christian communities to the needy, the afflicted, and the oppressed. May we radiate the living Christ and transform our lives in the hope of resurrection. This prayer we make to you, who is the living God, now and forever. Amen. Our opening music this day is I Am the Vine, and I invite you to stand as you are able in body and mind, and let us sing together, I Am the Vine. Our second opening hymn here, All the Ends of the Earth. You will find our call to worship this morning on the screens before you and also in our printed bulletin. And I invite you to read along with the bolded portions with me. Make a joyful noise, all the earth. Let the sea roar and all that fills it, the world and those who dwell in it. Amen. And as Jesus said, let the little children come to me. I invite all of those who are young or young at heart to come forward, and all of those who really want to dig in, including Ray. It's you, Ray. So as we do on Sunday of every month, we celebrate our birthdays. So is there anyone among us who has a birthday in the month of May? A May birthday. And this is our little miniature church piggy bank. So we invite anyone who has a birthday, maybe a child or a grandchild, to make a donation to sleeping children around the world. And you can put your coin in the top there. For Nancy, birthday to Nancy. Who's that one for? To you, Allie. Allie. Ah, perfect dad. Where's Janet with the dollar bill? For my sister Leah. Sarah. Birthday. Wow. H's birthday. Sarah's birthday. Happy birthday, Sarah. It's getting heavy. This is good. This is very good. Happy birthday. All right, let's see if we can hold these together. All right, we might need a bigger bowl. Okay. All right. So I am not in children's time today. I brought a guest children's timer. What would that be? Everyone. Me. Ray. Over to Ray.
Hi, kids.
Hi, Ray.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Ray.
I'm going to be talking about the mission, about how John King is here, about the mission going down to Dominican Republic. And since they made waters available, they were able to make Presidente. Anyways, I'm going to show you how they make the lay all the pipes down the hills and so on and so on. As you travel through the towns in Ontario, you see a town that's got a huge big water container with the town's name on it. So this is kind of the thing that the mission does too. They pump the water up into the mountains and then they flow it down to all these big water bins. The water pressure of the water just pushes down and everybody has water in their homes, which we're working on in the missions of the Dominican to have them have the same type of water. I'm going to show you how they dig the trenches. So I want all you girls and boys stand up here in the row.
Okay. Yep. You're all going to help.
Stand in a row. Nicely in a row. This is at the end here. You guys are at the end. Good. little trench hole. And where it starts is, I'm not going to give this to Charlie because who knows what he'll do with it. It's real. So you know. Machete. Cuts wood. Oh, used to. Oh, that's not too bad. Okay, so anyway, the first guy goes through the woods and cuts all the branches and the leaves and the twigs to make a path so people can walk. So I better put this away. Before I get it. Okay, so that's where it starts. And every group has a machete and one of those tools, sometimes maybe two. Then once the path is made, this is what they do. It's a pickaxe. And it's a nice wide blade. It's not just picked on the one side. One side is you've got a rock or something that will fill it out, but this here is what cuts the groove into the dirt. All of that short piece of back there. Comes off on her head. And then Charlie's going to come with his shovel here. Nice, very different. And clean the trough out with dirt. Show him how it's done. Okay, good, Charlie. Ben's on your side too, because he's got a little wider shovel in case the big rock has to come out. In case you get it. Then we got the hole all dug, and we're going to lay a pipe, sometimes a little larger than this. And the pipe lays down into the hole, and on the top of the mountain, they have a large pipe, and then it slowly goes down to a smaller pipe once it hits the home, and that's all it needs. So when the water is the reservoir, we haven't even talked about building that yet. Charlie's going to build that because he's got the big shovel. Anyways, the reservoir is filled with water, and the water flows down these pipes into irrigation of their land and their fruit and vegetables, and also into their homes. And if anybody wants water for their home, they have to be one of the people carrying the shovel. Or else you don't get water. So we lay the pipes down. Then we've got this beautiful, beautiful hoe. This is exactly the type that they have down there that they make their gardens and stuff with. To fill all the dirt in, so you have to fill all the dirt back in. There you go. Show us that. Beautiful. Good job. I'm going to hire all you guys, so you all coming down there to Dominican? So I just want you to know this shirt also comes from Dominican.
I think we're done.
So we need to put it in our block. So what color would the block be today?
We'll move into our quiet time as we center ourselves once again after the children leave, and we'll invite Andy and Joyce to play for us How Beautiful. The words will be on the screen, and so if you want to join in, please do so. How beautiful.
The fruit of pure love.
How beautiful indeed. I am so pleased and honored this day. We have a guest speaker with us today. John King is here from Hope International. John has just recently retired in the last 3 years, although he is still working very hard for the organization. But he had been with Hope International for 35 years doing development work in all parts of the world, in Cambodia and the Dominican Republic, in Kenya, and many, many other locations. He has dedicated his life to eradicating poverty and bringing fresh water, and he is here today to speak to us about the work that some of you have already done in the Dominican Republic and talk about our next trip, which will be happening in this November. So it is my great honor and great pleasure to introduce you to John King.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for your warm welcome, your hospitality. I thank you, Reverend Anita, for her hospitality, making me welcome here. Thank you for yours. It's good to see some familiar faces. I remember a bunch of you. And the sunshine, the blossoms are out. The people are laughing. All's right with the world. It's a great day. We're lucky to be alive. So it's good to be here. I'm glad to be here and glad to share a little bit more with you of what's going on in the world. In November of this year, some of us will go to the village of El Rosalito, the Dominican Republic again. Another team from Jordan Station, like last year's, to help people build a water system and try to discover the path to greatness. To give you a taste of what it's like, here are some comments from other people who have worked overseas in the villages and what they have discovered about themselves.
Everyone came here, did a union program, then just people wouldn't complain about stupid things anymore. You know, the Dominican farmers start when they're 15 and go till they can't work anymore. And they just do that every day of their lives. What it really teaches you is what you have, the opportunities you have back home.
I've been blessed a lot in my life, and I have so many possibilities that kids here would never probably think about. So for me, coming to a little community like this has reinforced the idea that I'm going to use all the opportunities and possibilities that I have in Canada.
We'll meet all the Dominicans we're working with for the day. We'll probably know a few. We'll work planting grass, using a pickaxe, using a hoe, or some kind of manual labor. It makes it feel alive when you're out there in 35-degree heat hanging on the side of a mountain.
So they discovered that we all are born with advantages. So what is the path to greatness? What do you think? Is it great intelligence? Is it great strength? Great riches? Power? Influence? What do you think? Consider the Shah of Iran, once one of the most powerful people in the world, who ended up fleeing in 1979 as a refugee to Egypt, Morocco, Mexico, the U.S., and finally end up finding asylum in Egypt. Consider Muhammad Ali, who was the greatest boxer in the world, but he ended up weak and suffering from Parkinson's disease. That next slide. Just click it. That's what he looked like before he died. So we might conclude from those examples that greatness is fleeting, and we'd be somewhat right, or it's temporary. 1,000 years from now, who's going to remember who Muhammad Ali or the Shah was? Consider Jesus, the Savior of the world, and what he said in John chapter 13, which answers our question about the path to greatness. He said, "It was just before the Passover feast. Jesus knew that the time had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he now showed them the full extent of his love. This is a big moment. What do you think he's going to do? He's going to show them the full extent of his love. Is he going to give each one of them $1 million? How could he show them the full extent of his love? Well, verse 2, it says, the evening meal was being served, and the devil having already prompted Judas Iscariot, son of Simon, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he'd come from God and was returning to God. This has got to be really big. Is he going to rain fire and brimstone down on their enemies? I mean, he is the Lord of the universe, and he knows it. What's he going to do? Well, verse 4 says he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. What? Are you disappointed? You thought he was going to do something really big. And here he got down on his hands and knees and started washing feet of these guys who are fishermen and doctors, all sorts of things. What a humble thing to do. He came to Simon Peter, and we have that dialogue with Simon Peter. When he had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. Do you understand what I have done for you? He asked them. You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you should also wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. I tell you the truth, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed. If what? If you do them. See, knowledge is not enough. We know, a lot of us have heard this story before, but we need to try doing these things. And that isn't all that easy, because you have to be creative. You have to think about what he means here. The Lord of the universe washing the disciples' feet. And thus the trip. That's why we take people overseas. I like taking church people overseas because they have a bit of the truth already in their heads, but how do you practice it? And the Dominicans, because they live in the mountains and they live in community, they have a bit more of an idea what servanthood is than we do, because we have servants all around us. But they know how to serve, and so as we work among them, if we don't get it right away, they will show us. They will do it. They will wash our feet. They will serve us. And it's embarrassing because we go to serve them. But they will show us how to be servants, how to wash feet. A similar type of example in a similar teaching moment in Matthew 18, verse 1, the disciples asked, "Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" Jesus called a little child and had him stand among them. And he said, "I tell you the truth, unless you change and become like little children, you'll never enter the kingdom of heaven." So it's a very important thing that we understand this. Therefore, whoever humbles himself like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. That's an upside-down philosophy. Whoever would be the greatest of all must learn to be the slave of all. The least will be the greatest will be the least. That's really radical Christianity. That's our faith in operation there. So we go to the Dominican Republic. We learn there to serve the people we're helping. They will tell us what to do, and we will do it. Even if it means doing menial tasks like digging trenches with them, like Ray was showing us here. This concept is very countercultural for us because we're used to being served by waiters in the restaurants, by public servants, by our machines, our cars, our dishwashers, our laundry machines. However, there's some notable examples of servanthood in our history. I think of Mother Teresa and others like her. We've had some great servants. self-sacrificial servants. Here's a different example from the Olympics. In the 1964 Winter Olympics, in the next slide, in Innsbruck, the clear favorites in the bobsled event were the Austrians and the Italians. Experts gave the Canadians an outside chance. But something magical happened. Canada won, broke the Olympic record in the first heat, and had a half-second lead on the rest of the field. But on that record-setting first run, there'd been a problem. The Canadians went into the last turn too fast, and the sled hit the ice wall and went up on two runners. The accident damaged the sled's axle. If it weren't fixed, the Canadians are going to be disqualified. Eugenio Monti and his Italian team fixed the runners for them before the next race. With Monti's help, Canada 1 was able to race and hold on to its lead and went on to win the gold medal. In the end, Italy's Eugenio Monti and his team received the bronze medal and the Pierre de Coubertin Award for Fair Play. Monti was criticized by the Italian press, but he was steadfast. He said, "The Canadians didn't win because I helped them. They won because they were the fastest." The longer we work in developing countries, the more we learn about servanthood. Next slide. It is known that if we just provide solutions for people, these efforts have little chance of succeeding. We have learned that if we serve or help people by listening to their ideas, helping them obtain the materials they cannot obtain on their own, and helping them build or them plant the solution themselves, they will care for and maintain the solutions forever. There'll be permanent change. Helping them is a type of servanthood. We teach our workers in the field a servant attitude, telling them, when you begin talking to poor farmers, you want to take your encourage them to stand up while you kneel. Ask them questions and write down the answers on your clipboard, thus letting them know that their word's important. So you kneel and they stand. Body language. So you're kneeling there, and as they speak, you're writing everything down. So they learn that what they have to say is quite important. Otherwise, they would look at your glasses, they would look at the fillings in your teeth, and they know you're wealthy. They know you're educated. It's different for them. They see that, and they would say nothing. But we need to know, what's the annual rainfall? What grows here? What grows there? What different kinds of grasses do you have? What are they used for? We need to know all that stuff in order to help them. So they need to start participating in their own development. But in order to get them to do that, we have to get them to talk. And so our posture, maybe we should be washing their feet. That would be another way of submitting and being humble before them. We need to elevate them. Same thing here on the streets of Jordan Station or Toronto or wherever we are. Go to the street people and ask them for help. One of the street people in Vancouver, street workers in Vancouver told me, if you want to help a street person, you start being vulnerable with them. Tell them you're having a problem with alcohol, or you're having a problem with your raising your kids, and let them help you, let them advise you, and they'll start opening up. Otherwise, they won't talk to you. They're defensive, they're scared of you, but you want them to open up. So get vulnerable. Start telling them some of your own problems, and maybe they can help you. Anyway, so that's what we do with third world people. Their words are important. We're listening intently. It's just like the body language of foot washing. This way we'll discover the uniqueness of his land. What grows well? I took the top picture in 1987, and you can see that was India, and it was very barren. Nothing was growing. The trees were all chopped off. The stumps looked lifeless, but there actually were little sprouts coming out, but the goats would eat them off. So we had the people fence in 2,000 acres of forest, And when I came back in 1995, you can see the trees are 20 feet high, and those are cash crops. There's bobble and I've forgotten the name now. But anyway, there's a long pod-like thing that they sell so they can make an income from the forest. And then by the time I got there, there was birds in the air, there was insects. The average yearly temperature was down 10 degrees. There was deer and bear even in the forest. And they'd come back from other parts of the country because the environment was getting better in that area. We had built dams, and we had backed up lakes 5 kilometers long so we could irrigate on the land. The whole environment began to change, and we could resettle landless farmers on that land. And you can see a village in the background on the slide on the left. You can see there's not much trees, but by 1995, their houses are all shaded nicely with big trees. Whoops, sorry, somebody's glasses here. So what kind of trees grow well? We need to know all that information. Then when we sit down with the entire village to plan out where and what we're going to grow, they will do the work, they will maintain it, they'll be stewards of the land, the trees, and today 16,000 acres in that area of Andhra Pradesh, India, are once more producing food for the people to eat, and this project, completed in the 90s, is now serving as a model of what can be done and how to do it. In fact, the government has tried to copy what we did there. They flew over the land in helicopters to see what we had done, and they saw, oh, dams. Okay, they hired contractors to build dams, and all over the country they started building dams, but the contractors, they forgot. They're in business to make money, so they built them as cheap as they could and made as much money as they could off the contract. And then, of course, all the dams leaked and they didn't do anything. They realized you've got to have heart, not just a concept, but heart. Do a good dam that's going to work and is going to retain the water and allow the water to seep into the watershed or the water table. And then all the wells are full of water as well. So there's a lot of different technology being used, but you need heart. You need to be caring about the future of these people. So that was India. Here in Jordan Station, you got a vision. You decided to help. You visited the village, El Rosalito, and you decided to raise $10,000, which is being multiplied by other people. Some of them were right there with us. Some of them, I got a guy from Grand Prairie, Alberta, to give $25,000. So we're now over $100,000 raised for this project. The project has started. It started in January of this year. And it's going to provide water for 500 people in the next 2 years. They'll finish and do all these things listed on this list. And all those things will transform village life. They'll get clean water. Their children will live because they'll be healthy. They won't die of waterborne diseases. The women will grow vegetables. They'll have food to eat. They'll sell some to increase their income so they can buy knapsacks and clothes for their kids and flour. They'll sell some. Men will grow new crops. Children won't have to carry water. They can now, all the kids will be able to go to school instead of just some of them. Their lives will really completely be transformed. And that'll all happen for a couple of $100 a piece, a person, right? And God will be glorified. Massive, massive transformation in a village. And we know, this is another thing we didn't talk about before, but we know that those 500 people will become 1,000 people in the next 5 years because people will start coming home to the mountains. Because a much better place to raise kids in the Swiss Alps of the Caribbean. They're green mountains, but they're like it's beautiful. They've got view property on the top of the mountain. They're isolated, yes, but it's paradise up there. What a great place to raise kids with a few goats and sheep and chores, and they can grow vegetables, they can eat healthy, they can drink healthy. It's heaven on earth up there. It can be, and it will be within the next 2 years. And we can be a part of all that. It's wonderful. So that's part of the vision that you got. And without a vision, the Bible says people perish. But with a vision, people's lives are transformed and they survive. They live life more abundant. So the project was started. Here are a few clips from that trip to El Rosalito in October. We crossed a river, we climbed a mountain, and we met in a one-room school. They told us that the government had refused to help them get water. Others had also refused because of the remote location and the expense of getting there. The people of El Rosalito committed to sign the contract and do the work. They all stood up, raised their hand. Sí, nosotros trabajamos. We're going to do this. The people committed, and we committed to help, all in a one-room schoolhouse, literally a mountaintop experience. And there's one of the leaders in the village thanking us for coming and encouraging us to say yes. And there's Jenny, who is translating for us, telling us that this guy here cannot read or write, but he can use a machete, he can use a pick, and he's going to work. They all committed to work. And so we were inspired by their... In fact, I thought they were going to all jump up and grab shovels and go out and start digging right there. But so we were inspired to commit as well. And our 90-year-old committed. He was on the right-hand side in a walker. You just caught a glimpse of him there. And Jenny was encouraged to ride this poor little donkey. But they're strong little animals. Anyway, that's El Rosalito. All those pictures are from El Rosalito. We want you to come with us and discover the upside-down philosophy, why the least will be the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Next slide. Join us in helping the poor to get water, to eat, to be healthy, and support their families. And in the process, you will find out about yourself. Someday we're going to die, and we can't take our wealth with us anyway. Think about it. What is our life about? Why were we born here in Jordan Station and not over there? Why did God place us here at this time in history, and what might be possible? What do you think God's going to do through us? Come and learn the path to greatness and the joy of servanthood, because in the end, he who is kind to the poor lends to the Lord. How can that be? And he will reward him for what he has done. That to me is incredible. How could the creator of the universe, the one who gave me life and breath, how could he owe me anything? But that's what he says here in Proverbs. He says, if you're kind to the poor, you lend to the Lord. And God will reward you for what you have done. He will pay you back. God will not be any man's debtor. If you want to experience all this in a memorable way and leave a memory impact on your mind so you have something to live with, join us. We'll work through this way of thinking, this upside-down philosophy, while we're getting our hands dirty. If you can't join us, please, by the grace of God, join us in serving one another in various types of foot washing. You can make meals for people that are shut in, give rides, washing dishes, cleaning toilets, serving coffee in the basement of the church, practicing body language, practicing foot washing. Let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for life and health and strength, the very breath we breathe. All that we are and have is from you. Father, I would pray that you would help us to understand why you put us here, why you allowed me as an asthmatic to live here so I could have breath and have ministry in this country and other countries. Each one of us is alive because you let us. Lord, help us to discover our purpose and our unique niche in this world. Help us to realize all the power and the potential that each one of us has here. Help us to discover the joy of service, the joy of achieving that potential, the joy of achieving greatness in our lifetime, and help us to leave a legacy for our children. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, John, for your words. That was awesome. Last year, Jordan Station United Church supported Hope International Development Agency through a special appeal called the Wishing Well. The donations for the Wishing Well were able to fund a refurbishment of a well which would provide clean, potable water to the residents of the village of El Mamiso in the Dominican Republic. The support by our congregation for the Wishing Well project was outstanding and is a testament to the caring and generous people that comprise our church. In October last year, members of our congregation participated in a mission trip to the Dominican Republic through Hope International. The mission team visited the community of El Mamiso to see the well that Jordan Station United Church refurbished and the benefits that the clean water has brought to that community, and to meet with the people of the village. The team visited other villages as well, and each had different projects which benefited the whole community. There were working irrigation systems fed by a reservoir and powered by solar energy to water crops. There were greenhouses to provide vegetables which cannot be grown outside of a greenhouse. There was a portable sawmill to turn harvested logs into lumber for the village and to sell. There were fish ponds to feed the village and to sell the fish. The team also visited a village called El Rosalito, located very high in the mountains, which did not have access to running water. The villagers traveled 2.5 hours one way to get water from a spring each day. A proposal was brought forward to the government of the Dominican Republic to bring clean running water to El Rosalito, as well as the other villages in the same mountainous region, at a cost of $180,000. The government would not support such a costly endeavor. Following the enthusiasm for the Wishing Well, Jordan Station United Church, through Hope International Development Agency, has wholeheartedly chosen to support the Water Resource Project in the mountains of the province of San Jose de Ocoa in the Dominican Republic and bring clean, running water to the people of the villages there, and have committed to raising $20,000 to help fund the project over the next couple years. In March and April this year, the Mission Committee undertook to raise $10,000 from our congregation, family, friends, and other community contacts through a social media campaign and personal conversations about El Rosalito and the water project. The response was overwhelming, and we have surpassed our goal of $10,000 and are well on our way to honoring our financial commitment to the project. On behalf of our congregation of Jordan Station United Church and the Mission Committee, I am pleased to present a check for $11,333 to John King of Hope International Development Agency to be used for the water project for the village of El Rosalito and the other surrounding villages.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Barb, and thank you, John. And John, just so you know, we actually had close to $1,000 come in after we had cut the check for you. So there is almost, I think, $1,100 additionally that we'll provide to Hope International as well. And so thank you for your worthwhile presentation. For those of you in the sanctuary today, if you are interested in that mission trip, in understanding what we're going to be doing in November, I invite you to stay after coffee today. We'll be meeting here in the sanctuary at 12:30, and you can get some more information on how you might support us and join us on that journey. And so I invite you now to stand as you are able in body and spirit, and we will sing together the servant song. The words will be on the screen. Amen. Please be seated. If anyone has an announcement, I invite them to come forward now. I just have a few. Please join us for a cup of faith and a cup of coffee in our church hall immediately following the service this day. A reminder that we continue to collect food for Village of Hope, and our bin is close to empty, so I'll refer you to the green announcement sheet this day for the things that they are most in need of. And I think Yvonne is going to talk about our special events coming up.
First of all, our plants are in, so if you had ordered any, you can pick them up downstairs. For those that didn't get orders in and would still like to order, we will take orders, but they do have to be picked up next Saturday, and we would prefer payment with the order. We will be ordering extra for the spring fling, so if you are coming for the spring fling and you'd like to pick up, then you're also welcome to do that. For the spring fling, I still need a couple volunteers. I need one for the snack bar between 11 and 2. I need an extra parking lot attendant. Ray will be attending for a part of the day. I'm not sure if he wants to do the whole day. So if he doesn't, then we need another person just to make sure the cars are parking properly and handicap is accessible and all that. Then we also need kitchen cleanup crew. I only have 2 signed up. I would like at least 4, and that would be approximately $2.15 on Saturday. Monday night, we will be handing out the penny raffle prizes. I would like to have at least one person to help give that out between 6:30 and 8. And I need at least one more door greeter for the afternoon, and that would be to welcoming everybody coming in and giving them an information sheet of what we're having. I'm not sure if anybody has donated to the penny raffle table. I did really need them in by today. If you are donating and you didn't bring them today, if you could please let me know what you are donating so I can get the description done for the bags for the penny raffle. And the yard sale, I think we only have 3 or 4 people signed up for that. So if anybody wants to do that, they need to let me know today. Okay, thanks.
So just a reminder, our vendor spring fling and penny raffle and barbecue takes place this coming Saturday, May the 12th from 9 until 2. So please come and join us. It's going to be quite a lovely event. And with that, we'll receive our offering now. We'll share the bounty that God has given us with others. We'll receive our offering now. Be with these gifts as they enter a world so in need of your love. Thanks be to you, O God. Amen. And a special blessing, O God, around our children's offering this day, that it too might do your work in the world. Amen. Please be seated. We not only believe, but we know here at Jordan Station that prayer is powerful. It's one of the most powerful things that we can do for ourselves, for one another, and for our community. And so I invite the folks who are here this day to share what is on your heart, to jump forth with joy, or to offer what is heavy on your hearts these days. So what say the people of God? Yes, Rick.
Our surgery is coming along quite well. He's doing very good, but prayer would be appreciated.
Our brother James, who has suffered quite a number of setbacks over the last couple of months, is doing better, but we offer our prayers for him as well. Others? Yes, ma'am. A joy.
At the beginning, when I was standing here, Ben and Charlie were each reading off the slide and singing along with the choir.
Our children were singing. It's so wonderful as they grow and they're able to read now, they're able to participate fully in our worship. So joy for our children, and thanks to Ray for doing that children's time with them this day. It's important for them to understand what our mission here is at Jordan and to just get a glimpse of what it might be like to build that trench. John.
Just for the family, Rob Friesen, who passed away, who was a longtime member of this church, and star of blessings go to his family.
So Robert Friesen passed away suddenly on May the 2nd at the age of 62. It was quite a shock to the family. I do have the service details if anyone is interested. A celebration of Rob's life will be held this coming Saturday between the hours of 1 and 4 at Club Capri in Thorold, and if you need directions to that. But we definitely keep Robert and his family in our prayers this day. No. Okay. Let us center our hearts and minds in prayer. Holy and gracious one, we stand before you as your people, as your children of God, and we know that our prayers are heard and that they are answered. So once again, as a community, we come to you into prayer, in faith, and in thanksgiving. We offer our prayers of thanksgiving this day for the children of this church and our community, for all who call this their home. We are so grateful that they have such a safe and loving space to call their own, that you might inspire their hearts, O God, to sing with us in worship brings us great joy. We offer our prayers of healing for all in our community this day, for those that are not with us this day, for those recovering in hospital and at home. We ask for your healing touch. We especially lift up our brother James for you this day and ask for your continued healing in the world. For the family of Robert Friesen, we ask this day, O God, that you might hold them in your loving arms at the sudden loss of their husband and father and grandfather. Be with all who know him and love him. And we offer these prayers, O God, as Jesus taught us to pray together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Our closing music this day is You Shall Go Out with Joy. And so as you are able, I invite you to stand with joy and let us sing together. You shall go out with joy.